Am I the a-hole for not getting my brother and his wife a wedding gift? 3 years ago I, 29F, told my brother, 30M, he could borrow my car because he needed one and he didn't have the funds to get one. I told him he would be responsible for the taxes and insurance and I put the car in his name so I wouldn't have to pay any fines, in case he got any. I also did this because my other brother, 16M at the time, stole my car keys and used my car for a joyriding trip which ended in the car being total loss. He didn't kill anyone thankfully. I didn't put anything in writing, which was my mistake I guess. I believed he would give me back my car whenever I needed it, because I never expected him to do what he did. He didn't return my car. He sold it after 1 year of usage and kept the money and used the money to get an upgraded car. The car was worth $3,000. I had a Peugeot and he bought a Mercedes. My parents didn't reprimand him and they think I've overreacted over the situation since I have a good job and it's just money. I can honestly survive without that money, but the blatant disrespect is something I can't get really over. I never got a heartfelt apology. I also believe I don't have to give him any birthday gifts for a very long time. My parents were asking what kind of gift I would gift my brother for his wedding. I told them me not sending an officer after him is my gift. I don't think I'm the asshole, but his wife is innocent and doesn't know about any of this. Should I maybe get her something? Am I the a-hole for asking my husband if he wants a trophy? So my husband, 30M, and I, 29F, have 2 children together. We lost a child 2 years ago and welcomed another into the world almost 6 months ago. My husband is also the breadwinner of the family and I am a stay-at-home mom. Today, Black Friday, I go shopping with my parents every year. It's been a tradition since I was a child. My husband absolutely hates shopping and will be a grump if he has to go. The plan was he was to keep both kids 4F and 6 month, so I could enjoy time with my parents and shop for the kids. I left in the morning and returned in the afternoon. After him telling me how great the children were all day and that he enjoyed his time home with them. Bedtime comes around, I shower the kids, get them both dressed, teeth brushed and the little one fed and put down. Last one is our daughter and she will pick mommy putting her to bed any night over daddy. I asked my husband if he could so I could shower and eat. He tells me no, I've had them all day and you've been gone. You do it. I am stunned and ask him repeat himself, he does. I get frustrated because that's literally my life 24/7, watching our children and never have said that. I got so angry and went congratulations, do you need a trophy for being dad of the year? Slammed the door and put our daughter to bed. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my sister at my wedding? My, 34M, sister Candace, 36F, is a defense attorney. She's good at it and I had a case some time back which I asked her about. I wanted her to be my lawyer, but when I talked to her about it she said well, if you want my legal opinion, it would cost a couple of thousands of dollars. And even more if you'd like me to become your lawyer. I was shocked, and asked her whether she's actually asking for money to help her own brother. She said that she doesn't care that I am one, and that I'd have to fork over the cash if I want her to fight my case. I responded by saying that I'll find another lawyer. I had not talked to her since. I had my wedding with my wife Patricia, 34F, and she was invited. I was not keen on her coming there because of what she had done, but my parents forced me to invite her and so I did. I hardly talked to her throughout the proceedings but afterwards someone who knew about my case asked me about it, etc. When I told him who my lawyer was he asked me why I had not gotten Candace instead as she's my sister. I said she wanted a lot of money, and also asked me more than my lawyer did anyway. He was surprised and asked whether she had asked for money from me as I am her brother, and I said well, yeah. So others around him heard that as well and asked her about it. She got mad at that, and then began to justify what she had done. She took me aside to accuse me of embarrassing her and that I invited her to the wedding to try and ruin her reputation or something. I told her that I only said what was the truth, but she stormed off from the wedding after that. Am I the a-hole for not changing my dog's name when my new neighbor's child had the same name? I, 36M, am the owner of a Great Pyre/Australian cattle dog mix named Charlotte, 6F. I live in a lower middle-class suburb in an unspecified United States. I have lived here for about a year now, and I let Charlotte out to go potty roughly 6 or so times a day. It's always the same routine. I open the back door, Charlotte runs outside to pee and patrol the yard, apparently it's a Pyre thing, and doesn't typically come bounding back to the door until I poke my head out and call her name. About a week or two ago, maybe longer if I didn't notice, new neighbors moved in across my back alley. I had no intentions of interacting with them whatsoever, like ever, except today when I was executing the last step of Charlotte's aforementioned potty protocol. I stuck my head out and called her name, but this time, alongside the familiar sounds of my dog galloping up the porch steps, was an adult human voice shouting something along the lines of "Why are you calling my daughter?" At first I thought it might just be my new neighbors getting into a spat, until a couple minutes later I heard pounding on my front door. I opened the door to an angry man about twice my size glaring me down. He said something like, "Why the F are you calling my daughter into your house?" and I responded, "Your daughter's name is Charlotte?" And he just kind of kept glaring at me. In absence of a response I followed up with, "Charlotte is my dog's name, dude," and he rolled his eyes at me and said I better change my dog's name because he doesn't want his daughter, 2F, getting confused and running into my house. I told him that's not going to happen because not only did my dog have the name first, we also lived here first, plus I don't like strangers making demands of me before even attempting to be polite. What I didn't say but really wanted to say is that teaching his child stranger danger is his responsibility, not mine. He called me stupid and said that a human child obviously has priority over a dog for a name. I shut the door in his face and stared at him through the peephole for a moment before he eventually walked back to his house. This last potty break, I went out with Charlotte and stayed in the yard with her until she finished her business, but this guy just kind of stood in his yard with his arms crossed and glared at me the entire time. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my future in-laws after they lost and almost killed my dog? I'm engaged to my fiancée Meg. I own a large home. Meg spends most time at my place but technically still has her own. We are in the process of moving her in with me this fall. Since my place has a lot of room and Meg's doesn't, I agreed to host her family from out of town for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be blunt, I do not like Meg's family. They are all extremely conservative, conspiracy theorist, low-key racist, a woman's place is in the kitchen types. Meg is very different from them but is close with them. She hasn't seen them in a year, so I agreed that they could stay at my place for the holiday, because I can usually tolerate them enough. Wednesday morning, Meg's parents arrive, and things are fine. A few hours later, Meg's sister gets here. I have a dog named Lucy. This is my dog, not Meg's dog and not her dog. I had her for years before Meg was around and Meg is not a big fan of dogs, although she likes Lucy. I was in the bathroom when the sister pulled into the driveway. Meg's mom calls to me and says I'm going to let Lucy out front to say hi to Meg's sister, to which I explicitly said no, don't do that. She needs to be on a leash and I should handle her. Give me a minute and I can come help, but leave her inside. I know she heard me because she said okay. 2 minutes later, Meg comes screaming saying that her mom let Lucy outside and she ran away down the street. I ran out of the house and got in my car to drive after her, but I could never find her. I drove all around my neighborhood and adjacent neighborhoods trying to find her all day, but I just couldn't. She had my number on her collar, but I was terrified she was gone or got hit by a car or something. Meg drove around in her car some throughout the day too, but her parents and sister did nothing. They just spent the day alone at my house. I went home and slept and then resumed the search in the morning on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. I continued searching and got a call in the afternoon that someone found Lucy. I went and got her and she was a mess. She had several bite marks and was bleeding in several places. I think she got in a fight with a wild animal. I took her to the ER immediately and they patched her up and she will pull through luckily, but that process took a long time, so I didn't get home until Thursday night. Today I was exhausted and basically locked myself in my room with Lucy to watch her. Meg's dad knocked on my door and told me to be a man, and that the dog was back and it was just a stupid dog, so who cares. I told them all to leave right now. Meg was upset and said they didn't have anywhere, and I said I don't care, but they can't be at my home. They eventually left after I threatened calling the cops. Meg left with them and texted that it was rude for offering my home and then kicking them out, and they made an honest mistake.